Trump Media and Technology is raising $2.5 billion to buy Bitcoin. So that is a huge deal for the 6 billion market cap DJT, which had mostly just been Truth Social. Now will buy 2.5 billion and be a mini MicroStrategy or a mini strategy. So that'll be interesting. Halliburton, Amcor, Tesla, US Steel, NEO, Navitas, Plug Power, Big Bear, Uranium Energy, NewScale, Palantir, QUBT, Oklo, Apple, and SoundHound. The bull market's back. The bull market is so back. The Trump thing is interesting. There's a company called a microcap that just announced they're going to do an Ethereum treasury. So this is SBET, okay, SBET, SharpLink Gaming, and the stock's up 400%. And this is a big deal. It was a microcap stock, and now it will be run by Joseph Lubin, who was an Ethereum, technically a co-founder of Ethereum, early investor, really sharp guy, Goldman Sachs guy. But what's funny is this market cap right now is what, 60, well, let's just do the math. No need to do it in our heads, right? Right now, the market cap is 2.3 billion, and they will have around 400 million of Ethereum. So you got 2 billion of extra value there. And Ethereum's kind of been a bit of a dog. You know, it's unlikely that, unless Ethereum turns it around, nobody knows if Ethereum will actually come back. So you got 2 billion. I don't know that all of these crypto treasuries are bullish for crypto, but this is the vehicle Lubin will be using. Yeah, so I don't think that's a good buy, just given that you have a huge disparity between the value of the Ethereum that'll be in the company and stock price. It really feels to me like we got sort of a weird bubble going on with MicroStrategy, Yorkville, Clear Street, BTIG, and Cohen and Company. Other big news is Rocket Pharma has a patient death. Stock's down 60%, trading near cash. The stock has been brutal. Trading near cash could be a good value. IVVD, I thought we already had their results. I don't think there are new results for IVVD. This is just a publication opening in about 2 minutes. It's very easy to make peptides. Peptide manufacturing is relatively straightforward. Bachem is one of the leading companies, but it's a very boring, slow business. Strive raises $750 to buy Bitcoin. Yeah, everybody's raising capital to buy Bitcoin. I don't think that's good for Bitcoin, paradoxically. I think that's kind of like jumping the shark. Yeah, I think everything 𝗟𝗏𝗃 said was accurate. I don't think they're explicitly saying it's a fraud, but next Google. Ryan, were you born without a brain? Corey, 112. SoundHound's back up. It's crazy. Rocket Lab, AMC. But yeah, Pinduoduo, the big news today. Oklo down. IonQ down. Maybe this bubble is finally bursting, boys. Listen, any of you quantum bag holders in here, listen, it's over for you. Keep dreaming. I'm about to put you in superposition. The reason I can say bag holder, Thomas, and most of them are not up 10x. The reason I can say bag holder is because they're not going to sell. Because you got guys like Bagahondro, he's got $5,000 in the market, bro. He's got $500. He's got $500 in quantum. Next paycheck he gets from Amazon warehouse job, he might throw another 500 in. For this to be life-changing money for them, it has to go up 1,000x, right? And the fact they've seen it go up like 5x, they're like, ooh, it's on its way. I'm going to get the next 200x soon. Soon never comes, buddy. Hate to break it to you. I've been doing this since before you were born. Now, if you use the few brain cells you have that are still firing and sell the stock, you might lock in what's known as a gain. I know it's an alien concept to you, but you might get one of these gains that they talk about. And your profit and loss might have a profit this time. But nah, hold on. It's the next NVIDIA, it's the next Google. You got this. Yeah, I was calling around to some billionaires last night and other very wealthy people, seeing if they wanted to partner on shorting quantum. Maybe some of them got the message. There's people, the problem is the hedge funds can't do it, right? The hedge funds I already talked to a bunch of the major hedge funds. They said, we can't handle the vol. If we short this and then the stock doubles and we're down 3% for the month, that ruins our hedge fund. They can't be down 3% for the month. But then you go to a Gates, Ballmer, Soros, you know, one of these big family offices, Michael Dell, etc., and you say, listen, can you handle vol? Yeah, we can handle vol. Do you report to outside investors? No, we don't report to outside investors. Do you want to make 100 mil? Yes. Yeah, the hedge funds know these are garbo stocks, but they can't handle the pressure. I talked to the two of the world's largest market makers, and they are definitely not long these things. They said that they're trying to be directionalists, but if anything, they end up short these things. A portfolio update is I'm short quantum stocks. That's the portfolio update, buddy. And we're down, but not out. There's no institutional investors. So the only way the stocks go down is, you're right, retail has to give up. Now, what does that look like? It could be a number of things. It could be retail coming to its senses, which seems unlikely. Retail getting pressure on employment and income. You know, that Amazon job goes away, 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗏 may not be able to put in $500 every 2 weeks. Or retail says, what's the next new shiny thing? Maybe I should buy, what was this thing, SBET? Maybe I should buy, you know, $1 for $5. I want to buy $1 of Ethereum for $5. That sounds great. Somebody's doing it. You know, it's 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗏's alter ego, his cousin. You saw me talk to the big quantum bull. I mean, to polite people, I'm polite. So SBET was a micro cap that I explained this earlier in the stream, that is basically getting recapped by Ethereum investors. They're going to be an Ethereum MicroStrategy. The founder of Ethereum is joining. Yeah, I don't think these treasuries are good for crypto. I've heard that more are being planned. The funds can't handle the vol. The funds want to make 1% a month and sell that to institutions. Institutions like endowments, like pensions, foundations. Yeah, Todd, I mean, we could definitely talk about and debate it politely. I mean, that's what I love doing, you know. But, you know, there's people out there that they really think they did 5 years like me. They really think they've been in the trenches like me. That's true, Nick. I don't care about mining. I will tell you that I will never care about mining and metals. It was never going to be in my core competency. Shorting is not un-American. Shorting is distinctly American. Now, look, I mean, I think that it's very hard to trade this bubble. It does require an unbelievable stomach for risk. I think that your guiding star always has to be fair value. If you are sure something is worthless, you should have no fear. Although I walk in the valley of the shadow of losses, we'll see who's right at the end. I'm about to go from ashy to classy. Yeah, the quantum weakness is a little distressing because it kind of shows you that even with the market being up, these stocks can't hold their rally. That's kind of bearish. Give me 2 seconds. I did a bunch of work on Bitcoin, so you guys might know how Bitcoin works. But I'm going to explain to you how I think it works. Does that work? Okay. So the idea behind Bitcoin is you have 2 numbers. One is called your private key, and one is called your public key. And you can represent these numbers in a lot of ways. The best way to represent them is through integers. Integers are the numbers we already know. They're sometimes called the counting numbers. The set of integers is sometimes called Zahlen, or Z. Well, it's called Z. It comes from the German Zahlen, which means number. And so what is Z? Z is a set of numbers that go from 0 to infinity. They're not the reals. The reals are the rationals. They're just the counting numbers. The set of numbers that are the private keys are the same set. So it's 0, 1, all the way to not infinity. Does anybody know what it's up to? Well, it's 256 bits. So it's 2 to the 256th. If anybody knows what the equivalent is, roughly 10 to the 77th. So this ends at ... 10 with 77 zeros. So 74 more zeros in here. It's a lot of zeros. Of course, we have the negative numbers too. Thank you. Integers include the negatives. So we're just worrying about the positive integers, which is sometimes indicated z plus. Yeah, of course we know the naturals and so forth. On the public, we have the same exact thing. And you can send money to any number you want. And of course, the number acts like a password. D-Wave has nothing to do with quantum annealing. D-Wave has nothing to do with Shor's. In fact, they've said so publicly. So please stop making things up. Annealing cannot do Shor's algorithm whatsoever. So it's not even about SHA, right? The mapping of private to public is just some function. It's like any other function, but the mapping is very fast this way, but it's very slow this way. And this is called a one-way function or a trapdoor function. And it's the 𝗔𝗔 function, 𝗔𝗔 discrete log function, y³ equals x² plus 7 mod very big number. This is called a finite field or prime finite field. This is pretty basic stuff. But what's interesting about Bitcoin is its implementations. They started off with something called P2PK. Then they moved to something called P2PKH. Then they moved to SegWit and Taproot. The problem is this guy. If you look at P2PK, Shaolin. If you look at P2PK, the public keys are exposed. In these, you cannot see the public keys. What does it look like? Well, I wrote a lot of code. Here are those numbers. And each one is largely thought to be a Satoshi wallet. And they each have 50 Bitcoin. Some of them have more. But each of these wallets is about, what would you say, $5 million? The red number is the X coordinate of the public key. So these are actually exposed in the original blocks of Bitcoin. So I made a script to download all of those. Here's one of those numbers. And so if you can find the number that corresponds to this number in the private keys, you can claim that Bitcoin. Whether or not that's legal, you got to ask your lawyer. Now, can you find the number that corresponds to this number? Well, 𝗔𝗔 is somewhat similar hardness to integer factorization. And of course, quantum computing is one of the bigger threats here. Yeah, there's also what I wrote was something called Pollard's Rho. Pollard's Rho is the fastest known algorithm for cracking 𝗔𝗔. I don't think so. IGNC, nobody knows. If it's somebody else's property, right? Not much is known about this curve and why Satoshi chose this curve. And if you could find an exploit for just this curve, you don't have to find a generalizable exploit. Just an exploit for that curve, you would break Bitcoin. You can do time for space trade-offs. You can use GPUs. You can try to use rainbow tables. You can try to find other weaknesses. Yeah, Jeremy's interpretation is definitely one. The problem is you don't know whose money it was. Yeah, Adam Back is the most popular Satoshi candidate, but there is a serious question as to why leave all that money just lying around. I can add more capital pretty much infinitely. Yes, the idea is maybe Satoshi's dead. No margin call. Rapid comeback. Look at these stocks crumbling. Listen, D-Wave's going to go down 95%. I think what do you baggies not understand? This isn't a business, okay? It's not even a science experiment. I like science experiments. It's none of the above. If you're short D-Wave, absolutely you're fast-tracked. Well, Bastian, TradingView is for noobs, all right? So let's say you type Citadel into godel. You can't type anything into TradingView because it's not a thing. It's for noobs. But here's just a few people, some of the top people at Citadel, and you hit enter, okay? And you get their phone number and email, and you could DM them. TradingView, it's just, don't even consider it. Where's the SEC filings on TradingView? There's just no competition. What retail trader needs DM? This isn't for retail traders, homie. Well, godel is 95% cheaper than Bloomberg. Yeah, we have international coming. We had to refactor our system because we can show you real-time quotes for every stock in the stock market simultaneously. TradingView can't do that. Yeah, Matthias, it's a recap. It's just that the value of SBET is $3 billion, but the amount of crypto they're going to buy, Ethereum, just a lot of people think it's the worst crypto. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it. We want you as a client long-term. You should short SBET, I think, because they're only buying 400 million of ETH, but you're paying $3 billion for 400 million of ETH. Does that make sense? No, we're not an API provider yet, but I'm sure at some point we will be.
I don't care about our fans. I want people who hate me to use our product. You don't need to be a fan of mine. I'm trying to help you do your work on the market. Let's see, we raised 2. That's on our website, dl.software. We raised 2 pre-seed. We're raising 5 seed. That's mostly done. Valuation's pretty low. It's very attractive price to sales multiple, actually. We're raising at like 15 times sales, which is kind of crazy. Maybe more like 20 times sales. The other services never show you the actual trades. What they do is called conflation. So they'll take the last 5 trades and just send an update every second. But to me, it's like, why am I not giving the client all the information I have? This is because it's a programming challenge. It's very difficult, but you should always give the client all the information you can. There's many trades per second in many stocks. Sometimes it's 10, 20 trades a second. I think SBET's a short. I mean, it's a $3 billion company that's buying 400 million of ETH. Nothing wrong with the people. Lubin is a legend, but it's 3 billion market cap with 400 of ETH. It's 10x it's 5x the disparity of MicroStrategy. You know, MicroStrategy is 2 times the Bitcoin on the balance sheet. SBET is 10 times the ETH. Not too much, Brian, but I definitely heard a little bit. Yes, it's the inverted hammer. What's an inverted hammer other than... Okay, I won't make that joke. You want to look at Roblox? That sounds like fun, actually. My son's going to be a Roblox fan. We did look at SBET. I just told you. It's $3 billion market cap for 450 in ETH. Oh, we're still tracking SLS. It's a 3 billion market cap. They just raised 69 million shares. So you do 69 times 43. 69 times 43 is 3 billion, almost exactly. So if you think 400 million of ETH is worth 43, 400 million of ETH is worth $3 billion. I don't know what to tell you. Why would you buy $1 for $10? Nick, you got to read the news of the company. They just sold 69 million shares. This is who you're trading against. Oh my God. No, it's not derivative liabilities. They just today announced that they sold shares, so that's not going to be updated till next quarter. They literally said, if you go on Godel, you just type in SBET equity N, SharpLink Gaming announces 425 million private placement. That's a share sale, right? They sold 69 million of shares at $6, literally yesterday. But you want to buy it at $44. 59 is the worst I've ever had. I'm down 50 right now, which is good. Nick, it's called research. It's basic work. No, ETH would have to go to 100K, yes. Right. ETH would have to go to 100K. Use your baggination. Yeah, SBET's going to be the epic short. All these guys that invested are going to get out. I mean, why would you stay in? You're literally up for no reason. You made 6x overnight by buying ETH. By saying you're going to buy ETH. Think about that. You're saying you're going to buy Ethereum, which is like generally regarded as the worst crypto. Yeah, no, you can't short it right now, but I think there's a way to, maybe at some point in the next few days, a way to do it. Yeah, they'll register those shares. I don't know if they registered them, if they did a registration statement or registration rights, but within the next few months, you'll be able to do it. And they'll probably start trading options. I don't know if it's a scam. The guy, Joe Lubin, is very serious, very sophisticated. He was a Goldman Sachs guy. He basically retired or quit. Then he joined up with Vitalik, and they basically funded Ethereum. The guy's worth billions and billions of dollars. Super sharp, So be careful what you do with SBET. But I'm still not sure I want to buy $10 or $1 for $10. Yeah, something's wrong with Quantum over here. Market's up quite a bit. I guess, Quantum was on a very big run, so why not kind of take a little break, Not a big deal. I mean, look, these stocks are still up a lot. We're still in pain. So don't think this little relief is some kind of awesome thing. It's not. Roblox is back, baby. $84 a share. 50 billion market cap. I've always liked Roblox. Let's take a look. You guys can see my screen okay and everything? What's funny somebody who said powerful. I think that's right. Like, we've all felt this way at some point in our lives, right? I'm really not in the mindset of feeling that way. Even though this quantum trade is murdering me, I'm very happy. I've got a beautiful wife. We've got a baby on the way. I feel amazing. So I see this man's pain and I'm just like, ooh, sucks to be you. So that's kind of the way I look at that. Oh man, Roblox spends so much money on infrastructure. It's like sickening. Look at this. Look at these. You would think it's a software company. It's got to be high margin, right? 20% gross margin. Let's break that down in a second. So like that's one of the fears I've always had with Roblox is that they're never going to scale. So you got 20-something% gross margin. It's gotten better, but think about this. The cost of revenue is like basically you've got infrastructure and safety team. So their safety team is just massive, right? Developer exchange fees. So these are the programs that Roblox programmers make. And they pay a creator fee basically. And then you got infrastructure, trust and safety. So cost of revenue is not all trust and safety. It's just infrastructure. So this is I think this is server stuff, server storage, stuff like that, CDNs, whatever. And then here you've got trust and safety, and also just programmers, obviously. Really, really low margin. And then you have all this other cost, development. Somehow R&D is not in all of that. Of course, G&A is not on all that. And sales and marketing is the smallest line. They don't need to do sales and marketing. No, I mean, it's a wonderful company in a lot of ways because I'm going to show you the cash flow in a second. The gross margin is an accounting fiction, right? We have a cash flow statement that is a little bit different. I know they have a massive, massive safety team, but they still can't do it. Now that's accounting gross margin, Marcos. We got to look at cash flow. They're very profitable cash flows. So there's a $600 million delta between reported net income and actual cash flow. And where's that coming from? Stock-based comp? Yeah, it's a huge moat. It's a great company. I've always liked it, but you got to consider the investments they made in infrastructure. It's complicated. You know, it's very, I always like looking at the cash flow. At the end of the day, cash rules everything around me. Almost no capex, but it's a little opaque. Like what exactly is going on here is not that clear. Here's their EBITDA. Let me go back to Q4 2024, excuse me. It was 184 million. Okay. So we can do TTM free cash flow. TTM free cash flow around $1 billion. So you're paying 50 billion for $1 billion in recurring earnings. That's going to grow very rapidly. That's a long, man. I like the stock at 60 when that short report came out. But we could do like $1 million at our current valuation, but that's it. The round's over at that point. Don't need a lot more than that. But you know, when you're a startup, you're continuously raising money. It never ends. I mean, it's not some. Eventually, if you get super profitable, it ends. And some of the companies like us, they do get super profitable because it's just a weird facet of financial information companies. They tend to be very profitable. My job is to take the investors' money and multiply it. That's what I'm good at. I've done it many times.